Our national debt is in the trillions of dollars, but did you know that consumer debt is too? About $2 trillion at recent count, averaging out to more than $18,600 per household, and that does not include credit card debt. So is it possible to work your way out of debt? Today, we meet a gentleman who did just that. As Liz Ayers reports, once he got the bills paid off, he has lived on cash ever since.
This past few months, the economy has tested everyone.
Unfortunately, I think we're overextended all the time, and this thing snuck up around the corner and caught us in a behavior pattern.
That behavior pattern is many upstate New Yorkers' dangerous liaison with credit.
If we live on credit, we condition ourselves to exist on credit. And every check that comes in, the first chunk has got to go to that slave master, interest in credit.
Roger Fisher knows what he is talking about. A second marriage and a bigger family meant more expenses. So it wasn't long before he found himself drowning in debt.
You're both working and the money's rolling in, and you don't think about the little bits and pieces until all of a sudden it's a mountain. And we found ourselves $50,000 in interest-bearing credit debt.
The former Madison County resident knew he needed help.
There are so many commercials on television and radio about how you can get out of debt. The only way you're going to get out of debt is to take yourself out of debt.
Fisher did his homework and decided to visit Consumer Credit Counseling Service. Gary Thurber says the only way you can find out where you are is through a budget.
So it starts with listing all the current net income, all the expenses that you have, and the expenses really get broken down into 4 areas.
The first category in your budget covers fixed expenses, which include mortgage, rent, and car payments. The next category is variable expenses, which include utilities, groceries, and entertainment. Don't forget periodic expenditures, which include taxes, vacations, and holiday spending. And finally, include the debt beyond mortgage and car payments. These include credit cards and student loans. Thurber works with clients to repay debt. He says the best way to do that is through a debt repayment program.
And that's a program where they pay us one monthly payment, and then we in turn work with the creditors to get concessions. And the concessions would be lower interest rates, waived late fees, waived over limit fees, so that the money is being applied much more to the principal.
The debt was arranged in, first of all, a manageable interest rate. Okay, it was knocked down to something like 8% from 20 to 25%. So that made your payment then go to principal as well as interest.
Roger was in debt repayment for the long haul and realized his credit counselors were aware of that as well. They first figured out what it would cost his family to live.
That's the key too. You want to maintain a normal lifestyle. And once that was established, then we took that specified amount, and that went on for 5 years. But at the end of 5 years, I had no debt.
Hard to imagine the discipline it takes to make payments for 5 years. But Fisher insists it is a cleansing, unforgettable experience.
Yes, you felt good about what you've done, but you also feel much better about what lay ahead of you and how to take those scissors and cut up the credit cards.
Even though Roger went through this payoff program a few years ago, he tells us he still uses credit cards to qualify for frequent flyer miles. But at the end of the month, he pays the balance in full. Roger Fisher now lives on cash and is amazed at how much more he can afford with good planning and no heavy-duty interest payments. For Help Wanted, I'm Liz Ayers. Dan, back to you.
For more information on debt management, you can log on to our website at www.helpwantedinteractive.org. If you don't have internet access, you can also call for assistance at 311 in the New York City metro area or 211 in most other regions in New York State.